Jihad is gentle. Jihad is kind. Jihad is all just in your mind. That's what they tell us anyway, but then the bombs go off, and us they slay. That's why we're here. That's why we speak. To warn of jihad from here to Mozambique. Alright, same thing in Bangladesh. A Hindu young man, Paritosh Sarkar, was accused of making blasphemous comments on Facebook. And he was sentenced this past week to 5 years in prison and fined 30,000 taka. I don't know how much 30,000 taka is. Maybe somebody can tell us in the comments. But in the meantime, he actually has a total because he has separate sentences of 11 years in prison, but they're going to run concurrently. So it's going to be 5 years in prison for blasphemy, for hurting religious sentiments. Of course, since there's accusations of blasphemy, he could be killed by lynching at any time. But meanwhile, because of this case, because of allegations about his insulting Islam on Facebook, there was a Hindu village, a fishing village, actually, in Bangladesh. The entire village was burned down. 60 houses were torched. And the Muslim mob vandalized the village, looting the houses, taking away valuables and livestock, vandalizing the Hindu temples, breaking the idols, etc., etc., etc. Nobody has been imprisoned. Nobody has been charged. Only the alleged blasphemer, who is Hindu. It does seem like a two-tier justice system somehow, David, but that couldn't be, could it?
Yeah, but by the way, I mean that is a it's evil, but that's a brilliant strategy of, hey, if one guy does something, then we'll just go after tons of random people and so on. So if one guy does something, we'll just target, Hindus or whatever. It reminds me, I saw this when I was still a teenager, but there was a movie called Under Siege. Tommy Lee Jones takes over, I forget what it was, a battleship or something like U.S. battleship. He's a terrorist, and he gets on there, and then one of the American soldiers tries to stop them, and Tommy Lee Jones shoots him and then shoots the guy beside him, and then he goes, "Warning to everyone else: if you decide to be a hero, I will not only shoot you, I will shoot the person standing beside you." In other words, for people who are willing to put their lives on the line, might not be willing to put other people's lives on the line, and Islam seems to have a good feeling for that. If you want to risk blasphemy, okay. If you want to risk your life to blaspheme others, that's fine. But just so you know, we might burn entire villages down over this. So watch what you do.
Meanwhile, it's funny how there's so much blasphemy in places like Pakistan and Bangladesh. And I do wonder if there's room for introspection. Do any Muslims in Pakistan or Bangladesh ever stop to wonder why any minority group, any person from any minority group in either of those countries would ever want to blaspheme Islam? What is it that in their day-to-day lives they encounter that makes them think negatively about Islam? Why on earth would the religion of peace and tolerance that is so benign and cuddly, according to every last politician in the Western world, why would they think that it's not just paradise to live in an Islamic society?
Yeah, imagine you're a Christian family. You've got your 10-year-old daughter, and the local jihadis come over, take your daughter. You try to get her back, go to the judge. The judge says, "Nope, we have this signed document saying she willingly converted to Islam." What? My daughter can't write. Oh yeah, they wrote it for her. They wrote it for her, and basically you find out these guys can just come and take your daughters, and anytime they can rape them, they can forcibly convert them, marry them off, and so on. And at some point, you start to get an idea that you don't like this ideology because of what it calls for in terms of your treatment. But then you say something against it, and oh, you criticized it. Now we have to either gather around and treat you like a pinata in the streets, or you get locked up for the rest of your life for criticizing it. But man, that's like, and what's amazing is, as you've talked about previously, there are Muslims calling for this in the West, right?
Hmm.
Like they want a global council to judge these cases of Islamophobia. And you look how it's handled in the places that have it, and they want to impose it everywhere. And then you look at places like Canada and all these other places, Europe, and we gotta get these, special envoys on Islamophobia and everything. It's like, how are you not seeing what actually happens when these guys have this kind of power to punish people for blasphemy? How do you not get it? Because you're putting a lot of lives in danger.
Very much so. Excellent point.